he's really in it for the team anymore. And it seems that just like I am in this sport myself.
It's only been 3 years since a Supreme Court ruling paved the way for NIL.
Fortunate, but I think it's not just about one person. We can still do better.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know exactly what you're thinking, and I have to actually agree with you. It's kind of crazy. We got college football holdouts for GTA 6. That's exactly what's going down here. It's a situation that is so bizarre and so controversial that not everybody agrees with each other in regards to this situation. So I'm going to take you through the story of how this college football starting QB for an undefeated team ended his career for one of the craziest reasons I think I've ever seen. Before we get to the content, we are almost at 1 million subscribers. We're about 57,000 subscribers away, so make sure you subscribe and turn on our notifications to help us get to that goal. Now that we get all that out of the way, work! This past month has been amazing. Everybody has been using the Caleb Williams free square to make some easy money, and this is our final week of free square September. All you need is to guess one player's stats correctly to 3x your money. To sign up for Prize Picks, click on the link in the description down below or go onto the App Store. Use my promo code Mikerophone to get $50 whenever you play a game of $5 or more. And follow me on Instagram at TheFlightMike to see my picks on a daily basis. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Matthew Sluka is a college football QB. He spent his first 4 seasons in college football playing for the Holy Cross Crusaders. In it, he had some pretty solid numbers. I mean, in 2022, he threw for 2,491 passing yards and 26 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions, and also rushed for over 1,200 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns. In 2023, he had a 62% completion percentage, threw 20 touchdowns to 5 interceptions for 1,723 passing yards, and also rushed for over 1,200 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns. He decided to transfer to UNLV following this season for his super senior season, and as a result of his achievements, he was named 3rd team AP FCS All-American in 2023. Now, the reason why Matthew Sluka reportedly transferred to UNLV is UNLV apparently threw him a huge bag. As you guys know, college football is completely different now. It's not like the college football that you grew up watching. It's not like Pete Carroll's USC Trojans. Hell, it's not even like Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide or the Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence era Clemson Tigers. With NIL deals running rampant in the NCAA, the game is completely different. And a huge reason why Matthew Sluka was able to transfer to begin with was because he was promised $100,000 from UNLV. And the craziest part is his head coach at UNLV, Barry Odom, even said that he thought that he had a market value higher than he was making here, which is just crazy to think about the landscape of college football right now and all of college sports. Look, I'm not saying that this is something that shouldn't exist in college sports, but right now it's certainly like the wild, wild west here, and they definitely need to figure out a way to regulate NIL deals a little bit. But Matthew Sluka ultimately held up his end of the bargain. He transfers to UNLV and led them to a 3-0 record. Now, so far, UNLV's 3-0. He's completed 44% of his passes for 318 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He also has 253 rushing yards and a touchdown on the ground. If there's anything that you should pick up from this storyline and from everything I'm telling you in regards to Matthew Sluka, it's that there's one thing that's abundantly clear. This is the last bit of football he's probably going to be playing on a professional scale. And that's nothing against Matthew Sluka at all whatsoever. It's just being realistic. Following this, he's very likely to get a job outside of football. And there's nothing wrong with that because it's so hard to make it to the NFL to begin with. The reason why I'm bringing this up is a $100,000 NIL deal for a college student that is transferring from Holy Cross to UNLV is a very big deal. It's probably the last bit of money he can make playing football in his entire life. Unless if something crazy happens, of course. else, but given what ended up happening, it seems like kind of sealed his fate. So things were going good. UNLV was undefeated. Matthew Sluka got a little bit of the money, about $3,000 of the $100,000 that he was promised, and then abruptly following week 3, he posted this onto his social media. I've decided to utilize my redshirt year and will not be playing in any additional games this season. I committed to UNLV based on certain representations that were made to me, which were not upheld after I enrolled. Despite discussions, it became clear that these commitments would not be fulfilled in the future. I wish my teammates the best of luck this season and hope for the continued success of the program. Now, automatically, there are two sides here. Side number one is saying,
oh my god, he's so entitled! He's quitting on his team! Oh my god!
and side number two is,
UNLV didn't hold up their promise! Of course he should quit!
first things first, man, in any business, it doesn't need to be in football. Two sides come to an agreement and need to uphold their agreement. It's a foundational principle in all of business, man. One side wants a service, the other side wants to be compensated for the service in this instance. It's not that hard. I'm assuming that this kid truly understood that he was never going to see that $100,000, because to make a decision like this is a very, very difficult decision to make. And for those of you guys saying that he's an entitled kid that doesn't care about his team, this is his final chance to make a bag playing college sports. And to be honest, $100,000 is a life-changing sum of money. So if you're being told that you are not going to see that $100,000 and it's your final year of eligibility, I'm pretty sure all of us would do the exact same thing here. In the case of UNLV, they need to be paying their student what they told him that he's going to be paid to play quarterback for their team. There's no question about it. And in the case of Matthew Sluka, if he's getting paid that money, he needs to perform. Now, the Athletics would respond to this, and the response is very interesting. Football player Matthew Sluka's representative made financial demands upon the university and its NIL collective in order to continue playing. UNLV Athletics interpreted these demands as a violation of the NCAA pay-for-play rules, as well as Nevada state law. UNLV does not engage in such activity, nor does it respond to implied threats. UNLV has honored all previously agreed upon scholarships for Matthew Sluka. UNLV has conducted its due diligence and will continue to operate its programs within the framework of NCAA rules and regulations, as well as Nevada state laws. And what UNLV is alleging is that Matthew Sluka felt like he had leverage in this instance, since UNLV is 3-0 and asked for even more money. So it's a gigantic game of he said, she said at this point. Obviously, if what UNLV is alleging is true, then Matthew Sluka is in the wrong here. Now, Matthew Sluka's camp alleges to ESPN that he's leaving the program because he was verbally promised a minimum of $100,000 from a UNLV coach, and he only received $3,000. His father told ESPN they had a verbal agreement with the UNLV offensive coordinator for a reasonable and fair number, even if it was much less than what the Power 5 teams offered. But payments were repeatedly delayed and no effort was made to formalize a contract with their collective for that amount. After UNLV's win over Kansas, Bob Sluka said that the head coach and offensive coordinator spoke on September 19th, and the head coach refused to uphold the agreement, instead offering $3,000 for relocation costs and asserting that the offer wasn't valid because it didn't come from him. Sluka's camp contends that they never went to Odom seeking more money, only what they were promised up front, and the offensive coordinator declined to comment to ESPN. After reading this article, I guess I'm more partial to think that what Matthew Sluka is saying is true, but there's no way I could really prove that to you guys. At the end of the day, this is the way I see it. This is Matthew Sluka's final year of eligibility. So in his head, he's probably thinking that he is not going to be playing any type of college football unless if he gets paid a significant sum of money for it. Otherwise, he's just wasting his final year of eligibility, and then you could kiss $100,000 goodbye. There's a lot at stake for this young man here. So I'm assuming once he felt like he was not going to see that money, he did whatever he could to preserve his eligibility. And that's why he's in the situation that he's in. Now, the article continues to say that college football players cannot enter the transfer portal at this time, but they can leave a program whenever they want. The NCAA transfer portal window does not open until December 9th, which is the Monday after conference championship games. Sluka will not be able to enter his name into the portal until then and cannot join another team to keep playing in 2024. And also bear in mind, you have 4 games until the redshirt eligibility rule kicks in. So Matthew Sluka played in as many games as he possibly could, and then went to his coach and said,
"If you don't pay me the money that I deserve, then I'm leaving."
I mean, for those of you saying that he quit on his team, he literally waited to the very last minute, and this was his very last resort before leaving. If you were a kid in his position with $100,000 on the line with no NFL prospects at all whatsoever, I'm sure most of us would do the same exact thing. Now, here's how the coach responded to the situation.
Yeah, we all know that. I mean, we've had a roster change at the quarterback position, and we're certainly excited about the two that we have trained for this moment, the opportunity that they have now to run the offense. It's been a really good week of preparation. We had, maybe if I look at it, take a step back and look, probably our best Wednesday practice that we've had all year.
Now, at the end of the day, whose fault is this? I think the biggest problem is just based off of how NIL deals are handled in college football. There's no contract. It's just a handshake. There's no written agreement. Matthew Sluka can't go and sue his coaches based off of a handshake deal that they had to pay him $100,000 in NIL money. And that's where the problem lies here. He doesn't trust the school to pay him what he deserves, and as a result, he's leaving at the very last moment before he gives up his last year of eligibility to make significant NIL money. It's not ideal. I could understand UNLV fans that are upset, but in this particular instance, I can't really blame the kid, because if I was a college QB with no NFL prospects and I was set to make $100,000 for only 1 year and that was all about to go out of the window because I was lied to, I probably would do the same thing if that was the case. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about all this, man? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.